Hey everybody, it's Chris. This is my reflexive vlog, and for my final assignment in this course, I will be doing an analysis and a reflection on my growth as a digital writer. So my creative process for working on my blog was mostly to envision what nature can do to the naked eye, and this was done on my Instagram page that I created, Chris C3080. And what I had was every day I tried to, since I was late in the game, every day I tried to post a image of nature that would invoke a feeling. And what I also did was I chose it at random for myself because I wanted it to influence my caption, my hashtags, my order of posting. I wanted it actually to be random posting. I wanted my caption to be as authentic as possible based off the expression that I had. And I wanted my hashtags to be quick at that moment, instantaneous thought. And that's what I did. My microblog, which was on my Facebook page that I had previously had, but fell off from. And I decided to come back with this class and with this project. And what I did, was create a page for motivation and self-reflection. The motivation was through the quote, but it wasn't necessarily a motivative quote each time. The motivation was more for you to create after reading the reflexive poem that was given to you, or the reflexive quote that was given to you. And for that, I had to pick at random these quotes I found to see what they would do. I had to also match these random poems with the same process, these random quotes with these random poems. And it was difficult. It really was difficult. But it definitely was worth it. I found so many amazing poems, and it influenced my creative outlet for my poetry, which I incorporated into this actually. And it was due to this randomness that I was able to create a free, poetic, quotative, if that's even a word, I don't have spell check, quotative Facebook page. And I loved it. But what I did love also was the process of memes, which I did on my Wix page for my midterm. And holy smokes, even now, I do not even realize that the complexity, the compassion, the artistic drive, it is art. Memes are art. Ooh. They are. And it's crazy. Just crazy how much work has to be put into them, and yet how authentic and how nonchalant you have to be just to be able to get people to really be intrigued by your meme, to relate to your meme. And the irony of all this is it has to be as simple as possible. One does not simply create a meme. It's not done that way. What? You telling me I gotta make a meme authentically in the most simplest way that will relate to at least 100 people, that will then relate to those 100 people's 100 people, who then will relate to those 100 people's 100 people? And that's a lot of people. It really is. But it was interesting. It really was. And I loved being able to create this on a page that I had basically created a cobweb scheme in my mind to what I originally knew how to do. And to brush those cobwebs out, rather the chainsaw hack them out, was a difficult transition. But remembering how to do this Wix page really helped. I keep looking down, honestly, at my camera, and I just realized that, and that's one of the processes of this. And a few takes ago, I tried to say I'm going to do this as authentic as possible, but I still was messing up. But I think I needed to become more into myself. And that's also what occurred with my multi-module project, which was coming into myself, what I enjoyed doing. And that was poetry. I knew that from the Facebook page. And I knew that every single time I would try to type a caption on one of my Instagram posts on my blog, I was always trying to make it poetic. And I'm like, no, that's not the point of this. And it was always such a conflict. But then I realized that I need to do something to finish off involving poetry. And that's what I did. I did a podcast called All Out Poetry. And it basically was an episode where I had a sound effect of a wheel, and I spun the wheel. And what I had envisioned was the wheel would land on a number, and that random number would then be a poem, which I then would read. And I would read heartfelt. I would read fully, would try to invoke what the author wanted. Author, not Arthur, though still a good series. And afterwards, I did a reflection on that work. I tried to break it down to see what was the purpose of this, the imagery, the invocation. Was the helicopter of the main point landing, or was it all the way in the air? Like, it was difficult, but it was also fun because I got to get back into the radio room. I did this with the real radio equipment. I recorded it. I did some minor editing, and then I added to it. And honestly, I'm happy. It was not one of my best works because I was also very rusty with it, but it was good enough for me to enjoy and hear and listen. And that was enough for me. And I felt it was enough for my viewers if I were to give it to them to listen to these poems, and how I would showcase them in the hopes that I showcased them as the author would. But the main point of all of this was to embrace media, embrace this inner poetic writer in me through digital space, because that is where I think most of my writing got cut off from. And you got to go back the way that you came sometimes to really figure out what's going on. And that was what I did with this class and with everything here. You know, my focus, the main point to my media source pages was to inspire. You know, I organized the layout and the color scheme through the pictures, and I mapped everything out to make sure that if you were to click this hashtag, you would pop up into it. But if you were to click the following hashtag, it would balance with the previous hashtags and all the images that popped off with that. It was supposed to be something that I wanted you to analyze on your own. I wanted you to have self-reflection as you read. I wanted you to expand on your ideas and to revisit and revise them, and to see if maybe, you know, you can transition from a previous self. And when I transitioned from statement and examples, I wanted to, yeah, I did it. When I transitioned from statements and examples, I can't lie. I actually just messed up right there, but I'm not redoing this because we're 8.5 minutes in, and this is real me, real time, real video blog. And what I was doing was going down my bullets, and this was supposed to be a sub bullet, but it wasn't a sub bullet. It was the bullet. So that's where I ended. But to continue, my creativity, that's something I want to really speak on. My creativity for this wasn't there. It wasn't me. It was nature itself. It was the poets themselves. It was the idea floating in my head, and that wasn't floating in my head, mind you. That was floating in the air that I grabbed by the tail in One Piece, and I pulled it into my head. From the tiger's tail, pulled it till I got to the eye, and I was able to envision these works that I wanted to write down. And that's why this creative process isn't mine. It's the showcasing of so many others. The pictures that I had, for goodness sake, was from Jess, a friend of mine, and her work was beautiful, immaculate, excuse me. And that was me. That was my style. This This is my style, a poetic mess, a poetic, chaotic mess that wishes to showcase not just my own, but everything around this chaos, but in style. And I feel like that is important to me. You know, I just went in on my creativeness, but that's not even the whole point of this. I still have a while to go, you know? A lot of it went through. I'm going down my list, and to be honest with you, I really did a lot here. Some brief evaluations of my writing products. I mentioned those already. I wanted to also showcase mental health growth and powerful quotes that could assist with that. Some of those were there. I will say, though, difference between writing digitally and print space. OMG. It's like your mind on a blank canvas and you do not want to look at it. That's how it feels writing on print space. On the Facebook page, when I wrote my own poems on there, it was like, okay, I gotta get to a piece of paper, a real piece of paper, and write it down, and that's how I was able to do it. But when I got into the real digital space, I'm talking about the little box from Instagram, that, or the box text, the text boxes that were in my Wix page. That's when I was able to type away constantly, quickly, the ideas flowing like snaps of my finger. It was amazing how quickly I was able to do so, how easy and how much of my mind was connected to it. But I think I can close right now with this and say the overall growth as a writer, my versatility and the ability to switch tasks is much easier. I can't say multitask because I can only switch tasks. My time management and my ability to function in tight parameters increased, and my interest in social media writing and posting has practically doubled. That's me. Me, my video blog, my journey, my creative outlet, my poetic chaos. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoy everything that I've posted and all the works that have invoked such passionate thoughts in my head. Maybe they'll be invoked in yours. Bye.